Curriculum development is also closely related to good teaching. And a good curriculum might include or keep in, and the planners of a good curriculum might keep in mind the various conditions which would provide for a good teaching. They must look for creating those conditions which would enable the happening of a quality teaching. A good teaching doesn't happen by chance, or it doesn't merely depend on how well teachers perform in the classroom only. Rather, it needs certain environment or working conditions and the enabling institutional performance, which would generate those conditions which would help people performing better in the teaching, and which would definitely impact the learning of their students. Therefore, good teaching or quality teaching is not a chance only. It needs certain enabling conditions. Let's look into certain factors which might help us in generating some environments of quality teaching. And the various elements or factors which may be relevant here include the institutions themselves where teaching occurs, the teachers, the teaching process and the appraisal system of the teaching and learning, and the learning process itself, which is very important. The institution actually includes the organizational culture where the teaching and learning occurs. And this might involve the ethos and environment, various kinds of communications which are prevalent in that institution, then decision making and the decision makers, and the management and staffing structure. They all may have an impact on the quality of the teachers which work in an institution. Quality assurance mechanisms which are used in various important institutions actually ensure the quality of teaching. If they work properly and the managers do adopt them in a true spirit, they can bring in a positive change in the performance of teachers working in an institution. The teachers, the most important element in the teaching and learning process, because they are the knowledge givers in a given teaching situation, and there might be various factors which affect their performance and which might work within their role in order to provide a good teaching for the learners. Various factors including skills and qualification, what kind of skills teachers do have naturally or they have developed with passage of time, and their qualifications would also matter. The level of their qualification as well as the relevance of their qualification, both are important for the learners. Support for teachers, how much institutional support is there for the teachers in order to uplift their personal grooming, both academic and social grooming, and also involving the facilities to improve their own qualifications. Their orientation towards work is very important. If a teacher is dedicated to teaching, there cannot be a better teacher than that. A dedicated teacher would definitely produce better results as compared to those who are there only under a certain compulsion for job purpose only, let's say. And then adequate materials are very important. They provide support to the teachers. Course guides, if they're clear to the teacher, this might be helpful. Then division of responsibilities of teachers' teaching and other managerial responsibilities in schools or other institutions should be very clearly defined by the respective departments. And then future training, which is essential. In-service trainings are usually helpful in uplifting the morale and teaching skills of the teachers. Then teaching release, mentors' feedback and rewards. Mentors do affect the performance of young teachers especially. Teaching process involves those practices which are followed by various teachers during their performance of duties, and they might involve some important factors like teaching models, maintaining good teaching, monitoring and observation of the teaching. This is very important, and they could be done both by the institutions and by teachers' own forums as well. Then identification and resolution of their problems, shared planning by the teachers and the management, documentation and sharing of good practices, which is very important for healthy teaching. Then self-study of the program is essential, rather the most essential skill or the factor. If a teacher would study the program himself in detail and would understand its prerequisites and things needed for its performance, he would be in a better position to perform or teach that program within the classroom. And then evaluating their teaching themselves and again by the institution is very important. Similarly, developing a good appraisal system of the teaching and the teachers is very important, especially in those cases where teachers perform better, their acknowledgement must come forward. Those teachers who perform better, they must be acknowledged by the institutions, and if possible, they must be rewarded in some kind of benefit so that they feel motivated to teach better in future as well.